evening, guys. It is August 12th. August 12th, 2026. I am on my way home from work. Oh, excuse me. It is 6:49 p.m. That's right, 6:49 p.m. Because for the second week, I have started working during the day. And this is the first time that I've worked during the day. Wow, for about almost 5 years. Almost 5 years. It's crazy. I'm still getting used to it. But it's tough. Taco Bell. Should I get Taco Bell? No. Nope. I got dinner at home. Let me not get Taco Bell. I gotta save my money. So a little bit of good news. Now, the entire time I've been working at my job, I've been trying to move myself up, trying to apply for, other positions with a higher rate of pay, more responsibility, and, no luck. No luck for many, many years, for many, many interviews, and it really started to hurt me because I thought, there's a part of me that's very, very, what's the word? See, this is the problem with talking off the cuff and not having a prepared statement. I don't know how to explain myself sometimes. I can be full of myself when it comes to public speaking sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I don't need any preparation. I can go on the fly. I'm that good. And the truth is that's not the case. I've had instances in the past where I've been able to deliver a speech off the cuff or deliver, a lesson off the cuff, and it turned out well. And I've had more successes than failures, so that's why I seem to think that I'm good at that all the time. And I don't like the way this car sounds. It needs oil. I'm taking it to get serviced, but I might have to service it myself when I get home. Yeah. Anyway, so what the hell was I talking about? So I've been going on plenty of interviews in almost the last 5 years. This October it'll be 5 years. In fact, October's coming up. We're right around the corner. But almost 5 years trying to get a better paying job or get a better paying position within my company. And it has finally happened. And it's happened in a very unlikely place. So I'm training to sort of be a maintenance technician, a mechanic. A mechanic of sorts for machines, for robotic machines, for conveyors, for any machinery within the factory. So I am going through a process right now that my company is totally like paying for. So I'm going through a 3-week onboarding process at this new facility, which for me it kind of sucks because I was working at a facility that was 18 minutes away from where I live, and I was able to have dinner with my family and leave. Like I would leave the house at 6 p.m. and then get to my job at 6:30. I mean, I get there before 6:30. That's how close it was. But now they're only offering this program at a facility that is 1 hour away from where I live. Now, it's a bit of it's definitely an adjustment. It's not a huge sacrifice because I remember when I first started working for Amazon and I was living in New York and I was working in Jersey, I had to drive 2.5 hours to work. The funny thing is, I would drive 2.5 hours to work, right? But coming home, because I was working overnights and there was no traffic coming home, I would get home in less than an hour, like 53 minutes, But going to work, it was 2.5 hours, sometimes 3.5 hours when the traffic was crazy. So an hour-long drive, I think I can do that. And plus, I've been traveling for the last almost 4 years. Now, ever since we moved to PA, I've been traveling back and forth from PA to Jersey, from PA to New York to visit family. And those drives are always 2.5 hours, sometimes 3.5 hours on a bad day. You know, on a really bad day, 4 hours. One time it took me 4 hours to get home from New York to Pennsylvania because traffic was bad and there was construction, there was an accident, and everything just piled up on top of each other against me. So an hour is not a big deal. I'm willing to do it. The only thing I don't like is that, you know, it puts more strain on the car. It kills more gas. But the cool thing is, after these 3 weeks of onboarding, then I have about 9 weeks of school. And they're going to send me to school for training. They're going to pay for my gas while I go to school. I mean, I can't ask for anything more than that. That is awesome. I'm very grateful. The thing is, right now, everything's new and everything's different and everything is scary. And I know for some people, they get really excited, but for me, there's a lot of things that I don't know about, you know, electrical work, about, you know, gears, about arc reactors, about, fire safety directing, about, environmental safety. Like, all this stuff is part of my new job description. And it's a lot. It's a lot of information. And oh boy, let me get off the road. I think I see an ambulance right behind me. So I'm gonna come here. Okay, there you go. I want to make sure that the ambulance has enough room to go. These guys are staring at me like, who the hell is this guy? What's he doing in our parking lot? Hey, I'm just here for a moment, just to get out of the way so whoever's going to the hospital can get there with no issues. Anyway, so yeah, so here's the good and the bad. So I got 3 weeks onboarding, then I have 9 weeks of school, and then for the rest of the year, I'm going to be doing on-the-job training before I truly get my full-fledged certification. You know, once I'm done with school and I'm doing on-the-job training, I'll be a junior technician, and then after my after my 2,000 plus hours of on-the-job training, then I become a full-fledged certified technician. And the cool thing is that I don't have to stay with the company, although I am going to stay with the company, but I can use this certification anywhere. I can use this with any job, with any factory, with any building, and it'll just increase my my value, as a worker, as a commodity. And in this environment, in this economic environment where people are having a hard time keeping a job, I'm very grateful. I mean, the job I had before this one, I was a stower. And, rumor had it that, within 5 years from now, maybe even less than that, stowers are going to be replaced by robots. Pickers are going to be replaced by robots. And I needed to find a way to make myself valuable so that I can continue to bring home the bacon, so to speak. The funny thing is, it came at a funny time in my life when everything changed, when everything is changing. And when I decided to make a change, then this opportunity came up, and then I decided to run in this direction. Since the beginning of the year, in fact, since I turned 44, I turned 44 January 6th. And within 2 days of my birthday, that's when everything changed for the rest of the year. And 2026 is now becoming the year of change, the year of, I guess, renewal, and but also the year of fear, because I'm terrified. All this new stuff is happening. At the beginning of this year, my landlord let me know that they were selling the property that me and my family were renting. So we had two choices: either move out and try to find a place to live, or try to buy the property. And me and Elena, we know nothing about buying property, about owning property. We are not people that own stuff. We are not people that have the money or the means to make large purchases, even when we do the groceries, even when we Like we had to replace Elena's laptop for work, and you know we got a cheap laptop for about like $400. That hit, you know, that was a large purchase. So to buy a house is like unheard of, unthinkable in my mind. But we had no choice because we're growing up, the kids are growing up, and we need to start making changes. And the truth is, this moment that we had where, you know, this person, the owner of the house, told us, hey, I'm sorry, I'm selling it, you gotta go, or I can sell it to you guys. That really let us know that we have no say in where we live. We have no roots. You know, if we continue to rent, and I've been a big advocate and believer of renting. I had no problem renting because I figured one day we're all not going to be here. We're all going to die someday. It doesn't make sense to put so much money into owning stuff because you don't really take any of this when you go. You know, so everything in life is borrowed. Everything in life is borrowed. Time is borrowed. Days are borrowed. Cars are borrowed. Houses are borrowed. Jewelry, you know, food, everything. Everything is borrowed. So I was always against buying a house. But now I realize that, you know, after carefully discussing it and looking at all the pros and cons with my wife, we realize, you know what, if we keep renting, we're never going to have that, at least a little bit of control. We're never going to have that control over where we stay. We will be at the mercy of the owners, and whatever they say goes. If they want us gone, we have to leave. If they say we can stay, oh, thank you. Here you go, here's the rent. So now I'm paying double rent because I'm paying a mortgage now. We were able to buy the property that we were living at. And the funny thing about that is that at the beginning of the year, that wasn't our intention. You know, me and Elena, we talked about it and we thought, you know what? Let's get out of PA. We're too far away from our family. It's just too far. I want to be closer to my brother. I want to be closer to her mom and dad. This way, at least, we'll be closer to family. So we got it in our heads, you know, we're going to try to move to New Jersey. Because Jersey was still a little bit cheaper than New York. And at least I'd be closer to my brother. And we'd be closer to Elena's family. And, you know, in a perfect world, I would love to live in a beautiful townhouse in New York City, but that's never gonna happen. I don't got millions of dollars to just like shell out on a townhouse. So I got myself a teeny tiny townhouse in Pennsylvania, and that is where I live now. But the truth is, it's a beautiful thing, man. The neighborhood is really nice. The kids really like it. They're doing well in school. My youngest Jack is not crazy about school. He doesn't like it, but he knows the school. He's been there for kindergarten and first grade, and now he's going to second grade next year. And my oldest son is going to third grade. Like it's crazy. They're growing up. They're big boys now, you know. And we're starting to develop roots here now. Since we knew the area, I said, you know, let's stay. And plus, we couldn't afford to get anything better than this place. Not that there's anything wrong with the place. It's just it's dated. It's old. It needs to be, you know, upkeep. It needs to be maintained. It needs to be fixed in a lot of areas, you know. I mean, one area alone that has to be redone no matter what. All the floors in the entire house need to get redone because 90% of the house is all covered in carpet. And it's the nastiest fucking carpet. And it's only gotten worse because we got kids and dogs, and all they do is step all over it with their dirty feet, you know. And to try to vacuum it and clean it all the time, it's a pain in the butt. It's a real hassle. And plus, it's bad for your allergies. It's bad for health. It also attracts fleas, and we need to get rid of it. And that's a big job, you know. And it's not even just about the money. It's about the time. It's about the time. Like, when are we gonna have the time? When do I have the time? But so yeah. So we bought the house. So we're living there. Now we are official Pennsylvanians. My wife has her ID. I have my ID. We are official Pennsylvanians. I got my Pennsylvania license plate. I mean, I'll always be a New Yorker at heart. In fact, nobody here is fooled by me at all. Not that I'm trying to fool anybody, but as soon as I start talking, for some people, for some reason, everybody recognizes the New York accent. The funny thing is, for me, because I was born and raised in New York, I've heard people with different accents, all coming from the same city. But to anybody outside of New York City, like anything that's different, like they just kind of pin it to like a city voice, city guy, city mentality. And they're not wrong when it comes to me. I'm still getting used to the country out here. You know, seeing all these farms. I love the trees and I love the deer, but man, I really wish I could just take a walk, like a long walk, and not worry about getting killed by, you know, the hills have eyes. Because sometimes I make a wrong turn and I end up in some weird place in the woods and I'm like, oh, no, where the hell am I? How did I get the hell out of here? So yeah, 2026, by January, just in the beginning of the year, we were told, buy it or bounce. And by March, January, February, March, April, by April, I think, by the end of March, beginning of April, we finally were able to somehow, through a miracle of God, we were able to get the funds, borrow the money to pay for the house. It's a small house, only one bathroom for 4 people, 2 bedrooms for 4 people, but we're making it work so far. And we'll figure out how to make it work later on. But for now, this is exactly what we need. This is exactly, I think, what's right for us. And I'm happy with that. I just wish, you know, my floor was nice and my, because we gotta redo the bathroom, we gotta redo the kitchen, and we gotta redo all the floors, gotta paint the walls, and ironically, that's the easiest part, painting the walls. The floors is gonna be the biggest job, but I so desperately want to do the floors. And if I can just do the floors this year, I will be happy. But we're getting towards the end of the year now. We're in the beginning of August. September, October, November, December. Only 4 months left to the year, and there's no way I'm gonna get all the floor done in the next 4 months. I gotta take time off from work, and that's the thing that I'm talking about. Because once we got our housing situation situated, I started thinking about other changes I needed to make in my life, and I realized that okay, so now we're paying a lot more than we were paying, you know, when we were renting. But at least we're paying towards something to own, something that maybe we can leave our kids, you know, for just in case. Kind of like what my parents did for me and Steven. But so now I got to figure out how to make more money, and I've been trying no bites, and then I started to think about doing a show. For those of you that don't know, of course, the only people that watch these videos are the people that know me. I grew up acting, and I grew up performing. Everywhere I go, I perform. Lately, for the last, I don't know, maybe 7 years, I've kind of given up performing. And when I mean given up performing, like I, not only was I not acting in shows and participating in productions, but I also wasn't acting like in people's houses when I go to visit family and friends. I don't put on a show, I don't put on a performance. I used to be that guy that loved to act the fool and just, you know, see how people react just to, you know, get a reaction. And for the last, what was it? The last show I did was in 2014, the year I got married. The year I got married, that was the last time I ever acted. And I left acting for a while because I was burnt out at the time. But now, for the last couple of years, I've been getting that itch to come back, and I've been trying to figure out a way to come back in a cost-effective way, but also being able to express what's inside of me. And I came upon a show called Chinese Coffee that I had seen the film version of many, many years ago. And I thought, oh man, I would love to produce this show. It's a 2-man show. It takes place in one room over the same day. So it's an easy production in terms of set design and the actors you need involved. If I were to cast myself as one of the performers, then I only need to find another one. And I really had it in my head that I wanted to cast my brother because I always thought, well, I didn't always think, but I definitely realized after watching my brother perform, he is an excellent, I mean, I've always known he's an excellent performer because he's been on stage singing and doing that thing, and he's just an amazing singer and he's an amazing performer, but he's also an amazing actor. I think he's a really good actor. He has something very genuine and honest in his performances that it just comes off that way. I did get to direct him in a stage play of The Boys in the Band, and he got to play one of the boys. And I gotta be honest, during the rehearsals, he did not do or portray it the way I wanted him to portray it, but he did an amazing job. And out of all the actors on the stage, he was probably the most comfortable, the most honest, the most, like, you know, straight edge performance on that stage. And I was always grateful for him performing that part. I was not grateful for his attitude during the rehearsals because, you know, my brother was coming from a very, very professional mindset at that time, and I was working with a bunch of misfits, you know. Some people, like, all amazing performers, but of course people show up late, people forget their lines, people forget their parts, people forget their blocking, and Steven was not used to that. And I was, because when you work in a community college and you're doing a show with community college students, no offense to community college, it's just that community college is not a place where people like are seriously focused on a craft. Community college is where people go to better themselves, to get their grades up so they can get into the school that they want and then focus on whatever craft or you know mode of study that they want to focus on. So sometimes I give community college kids a little leeway because I know, yeah, you're not going to be an actor forever. You're doing this for fun. I'm not paying nobody, so I'm not going to force anybody to be a uber professional. But it was kind of frustrating, you know, when people were forgetting the lines and stuff. But my brother at that time had like no faith in my cast. Luckily for me, since I worked with everybody who was in that cast, I did have faith in them. And I knew that they were going to pull through, and they did. And they did an amazing job, and so did my brother. So going back to what I was talking about, I had this idea that I wanted to put on this show. And then, you know, I bought the play, and I found out how much the rights would cost. It was like a few $100. And then I was looking into, you know, sort of performance spaces in my area that are really cheap and really like gorgeously small. That I really like that black box theater feeling. You know, I love the little theater more than the main stage. I've always enjoyed that type of performance because it's so intimate, and you're basically sitting with the audience. The audience is sitting with you, and you feel everything they feel everything you feel. It's a shared experience, like truly, more so than going to a movie. Like when you go to a movie, you have a shared experience with the other audience members. But when you're in a play and you're performing in a play, the actors and the audience have a shared experience together, and that's such an awesome feeling. And you know, I've been thinking I want to get back into it, but I wanted to start off small but still good. And then, you know, I saw that there was an opening for this you know, robotics and engineering maintenance position, and I said, let me put myself in the running. I filled out the application. Then I got the email saying, you know, we'd like to move forward with your application. We'd like you to take an assessment test. Okay, let's see what happens. I took the assessment test. I guess I passed. Like, they didn't tell me if I passed or not, but they definitely said, like, you know, based on the assessment test, we'd like to bring you in for an interview. It was a whole nother process. I'm like, oh snap, okay, so I'm getting an interview. And I still didn't get too excited because I was just like, I've been on a lot of interviews in the last 5 years and I haven't gotten anything, so I was just really, really, like, not really feeling myself. And then something happened where I finally decided to do something that I hadn't done in a while, and that was make myself completely 100% vulnerable and honest to my wife. because for a long time I had it in my head that because I'm the man of the house, I have to behave a certain way. And yes, I can communicate with my wife. It's very important to communicate. It's very important to be honest. But when it came to all of my mental struggles, my depression, my fears, my anxiety, I kept a lot of that to myself because I knew that my wife also had a lot of those feelings. And I wasn't sure that me putting my bullshit onto her was a good idea for her. I felt like it was too much stress. But this time I said, you know what, I'm going to be completely transparent, and I spoke to her. I let everything out on the table, and she just spoke to me. She listened, and she gave me some great advice. I don't know, there's something about the way she spoke to me that day, the way she held me, the way she looked in my eyes. It settled something in me. And for the first time in a long time, it made me feel like I can be more, and I can do this. So she suggested, get out the house, get in the car, go for a drive, clear your mind. Just clear your mind, get some space, get some air. So I took a drive, cleared my mind. I thought about it, thought about what I wanted to say, how I wanted to say it. And then I went on the interview, and I think a week later, a week later, I got the offer letter. Well, I got the congratulatory email saying, we want to offer you the position. I'm like, okay, all right. This is awesome. I can't believe it. I did it. So now I had to wait for the offer letter, because the offer letter would tell me if this was going to be a pay bump or pay cut. Because I was hearing a lot of rumors about certain training positions, because this was a position that you train before you do the actual job, and they're going to pay for that training. And a lot of times people were saying that, usually take a pay cut for the training period, and then you get the raise once you become fully certified. So I was like, let's see what the offer letter says. And the offer letter was actually a pay bump. It wasn't a big pay bump. I think it was like $1.20 more. But it was a bump. And it was something. And it wasn't a decrease. So this is all good. They're going to pay me to train. They're going to pay me more than what I'm making now. And then when I'm done training, they're going to pay me even more than that. And pretty soon, hopefully, I can get to a place where I can make enough to support my family without having to, lose my mind with struggle every single week. And that's probably not going to happen. I'm still going to struggle, I'm still going to stress, and I'm still going to worry. But at least we'll be in a better place, hopefully, financially. Wherever I can make more money, that's just going to benefit us as a family. Because everything I do goes to them. Every money I make goes to them. And I love that. I just want to make sure we can do it, You get scared. And the funny thing is, I'm 44 years old, and I have 2 children. I've been married for about, how long has it been? 14 years now? We got married in 2014 and 2024. 12 years, okay, 12 years. We were married for 12 years. We've been together for about 16, because we dated for 2 years before we got married. Then we lived together for 2 years after that. So we were dating for 2 years. Then we shacking up, as my father would say, for 2 years, and then we got married. So we've been together for a long time. We've been through a lot. And when it was just us two, I never wanted much, because I knew we'd be okay with it, with whatever we had. And now that we got 2 children, and 2 autistic children too, man, they got special need. They need special attention, and I need special education. I need to educate myself in other ways that other parents wouldn't have to educate themselves on. So, there's a lot of times where parents try to give me advice, and I'm like, that's very sweet. I'll give it a shot. And unfortunately, a lot of times, parents' advice to me doesn't apply to me and my kids. Every family is different. Every situation is different. Take the advice, see if you can put it into play, see if you can adjust it to fit your situation, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, try something else. But yeah, so now I'm focused on the new training, the new job, and I've kind of put doing this show on the back burner. But it's still there, and I don't know when it's gonna happen or how it's gonna happen, but it'll happen. It'll happen eventually. I'm at that perfect age to play this part too. You know, in the story of Chinese Coffee, there's two struggling artists. One is a writer and another one is a photographer, both living in New York City in their mid-40s, still struggling to pay rent, still struggling to survive. I'm in my mid-40s right now, and I can totally relate to these characters. So, but yeah, I definitely want to focus on the new job right now. So, guys, wish me luck. Hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully I do a good job, because, you know, like my dad says, I don't want to just have a job and be adequate. I want to be the best. I want to be the best damn technician on my team. I want to be the guy that people turn to. I want to be the guy that people rely on. I want to be that guy that when I go on vacation, the whole place shut down. They can't do nothing without me. In my old job, with my old crew, they're doing just fine without me, but a dear friend of mine, he did tell me that, yeah, we are feeling the effects of you being gone. You know, everybody misses me. I miss them. And for some of us, they miss my work. And for some of them, you know, we truly miss each other's company, because I was very fortunate when I was at this job that I was able to create, you know, friendly relationships, friendly acquaintanceships with people there. One or two, maybe three, maybe even four really, really good friends there. Definitely one that's just like my brother from another mother, you know. And I'm very grateful for that. So I left all that to try something new. Now, so far, the guys I'm working with now, everybody seems nice. They're okay. But you know, I don't know them. They don't know me, and I know I'm not at a job to make friends, but it doesn't hurt. But my main focus is learning the job, doing it well, excelling, bringing home that money, and that's it. But yes, but now, like, you know, I gotta adjust to this new schedule, because now I'm working during the day, but only for the onboarding and the training process. Once I'm done with school, by next year, they're gonna give me my official schedule, and it's probably gonna be a night schedule, because they told me they usually give the new guys the crappy schedule, and those crappy schedules always overnights on the days that nobody wants to work. And that shift is 9 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. What a crappy shift. But if I have to do that, you know, I'll make the sacrifice. And, you know, I won't be able to visit family on the weekends anymore for a while. Hopefully, Elena will have her license by then, and she'll be able to visit family on her own. You know, that's another thing. We're working on her getting her license. You know, and boys are going back to school. I'm getting a new job. Well, like, everything is new. We just got this new house. Well, it's an old house, but it's new for us. Well, it's not new for us, but now it's officially ours and the mortgage lenders. So once we finish paying the mortgage lender, then it'll be ours. A lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. And I can't believe it. 34 minutes. I've been talking for 34 minutes. That means I've been driving for 34 minutes. No, I've been driving for more than that. An hour, sorry. I forgot, because I actually didn't have this running the entire time I was driving, but I'm almost home now. So yeah, just want to give you a heads up on what's going on in my life right now. And I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Just want to let you know I'm not dead. I'm alive. And I hope you guys are doing great. I miss you guys. You know, I miss everybody. But you have to understand where I'm at in my life right now. It's where I want to be. I would love it if I can take you guys all with me and have you guys be geographically conveniently close to me at all times, so I can have you in my life forever. But I understand everybody's got to be where they got to be to take care of themselves and their families. And every now and then, we meet up with each other and we have a wonderful time. We catch up. And then at the end of the night, we move on back to our regular lives. All right, God bless you guys. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.